Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Knessa coming to you from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com on this, the 29th day of August in the year 2022. Sure hope you're enjoying your Monday, no matter where it is you are in the country. And as you do every week, you allow me into your home so that I could bring you this week's upcoming newspaper. And this week on the front page, there are three stories. We'll start at the left. And what you're seeing there is Kearney firefighter Ed McCune working with campers at Camp New Day. Now, Camp New Day is for extraordinary people, and there are youngsters there up into adult-aged people who have been going to this camp for many, many years. And for various reasons, it was once done on a big campground, but it's been moved now, after a hiatus caused by COVID, of course, to the Archdiocesan Youth Retreat Center on Belgrove Drive. And this is the first year it was there. And Eddie's been a volunteer with Camp New Day for many, many years. And so I suppose he figures, hey, well, we're right here. We might as well bring a fire truck down. And that's what he did. A couple other members of the fire department came down. They brought the truck and let the campers use the hose, which was a thrill for so many of them. They got a kick out of it. One person actually drenched Eddie. He loved it, even though they weren't supposed to do that. It was supposed to really drench cars, but Eddie wound up soaking wet. And the Kearney Firefighters Foundation also made a nice donation to Camp New Day. And it was a really nice afternoon for me to be able to go down there and see the campers having a delightful day. You know, it's a very special place. And as I think I mentioned, Eddie's been involved for many years with this camp. So it was kind of cool to be able to witness it firsthand and to see the joy that was in the eyes of every single camper. Nobody complained. Nobody moaned. They just wanted to get their chance with the hose, and they all did, and had a fantastic time doing it throughout. So well done, Eddie McCune, and well done, Kearney Fire Department, for bringing one of the trucks down there and letting the campers get involved and fire off that hose. It was really, really something to watch. Also on the front page, there was a fire, of course, in Harrison last week on Ann Street, but the Harrison Fire Department, along with Kearney and East Newark, were able to keep it from spreading to any other homes except for the one where it began on Ann Street. It's a little pesky. It was on the back side of the house, so it was not always easy to get to. But together in about 45 minutes, the three departments were able to extinguish the fire without it spreading to any other home. So it was a good save by the Harrison, Kearney, and East Newark Fire Departments. And we spoke with Mayor Fife and Councilman Bennett about that, so you can read that in this week's front page. Now, the bottom story, these spotted lanternflies. I mean, you've probably seen them by now. If you haven't, you're very lucky, I suppose. But one of our readers, who is also an epic letter writer, Armand Rose, his nickname is Buddy, sent me a picture, an email the other day, and he says, I've killed about 500 of these things in my property alone. And then he was sending emails on subsequent days. Well, we're up to 600, up to 700, up to 800. And as I spoke with him on Friday, he was just under 1,000 squashed spotted lanternflies. So his neighborhood over on Canterbury Avenue in North Arlington has been hit particularly hard with these things. And the latter part of August is when they mate. So God knows what's going to happen in September. I don't know what the gestation period is. I don't think it's that long. But we have images of what they look like if you've never seen them, and what the larvae looks like if they have hatched eggs, if they have spread eggs. And the thing that is a little bit disappointing is that the state and local governments aren't doing anything really to extinguish these. It's basically been left in the hands of residents. So if you have a major infestation, there's really very little you can do, nowhere to turn. And the thing that they keep telling everybody is just squish them. And it's not easy because these things are clumsy. They hop, they hobble, and they fly. And sometimes they're so dumb they just smack right into your face. these things. And it's not always easy to get them on the ground. They also perch high sometimes, so you can't reach them. Buddy says he's killed all his with a fly swatter, but people I've heard who have tried to kill them with their feet, not been an easy task, okay? So just be warned of that. Oh, they also say you should always have shoes on, too, when you squash them, too. I think that's pretty common sense, but you just never know. You're not going to get sick or anything if you don't have shoes on, but just be wise and make sure you do so that nothing else happens, because there's a little bit of a after charge once you do squish them. But again, he's got 1,000 of them. The rain washed them away recently, but there's some things that you can do to prevent the spread. We have all that in the story, and especially want to thank Buddy and his wife Janet for bringing this to our attention, because it's as bad as it's been, I think, over the last 2 years since they first started. On Friday afternoon last week, I had an opportunity to go over to the Harrison Gardens. Councilman Larry Bennett invited me over, and every year, except, of course, for the last 2 years, again, COVID, the Harrison Housing Authority, the Harrison Police Department, and the Harrison East Newark Elks give out book bags filled with school supplies to the kids of the gardens and other parts of town. And so Larry invited me over. I had a chance to see some of the kids getting their backpacks filled with supplies that, unfortunately, for many, we take for granted. A simple backpack and folders, pens, pencils, crayons, things of that nature. Some of these kids wouldn't be able to access it. And so what happens is every year the Elks do a backpack drive, and get all the supplies. The Housing Authority, under Ray Lucas, supply the location and tables and things of that nature, and they assist the Harrison Police Department's community policing unit with serving food. They give out some food and things of that nature. So it's like a real nice community event. And it was good to see Chief Dave Strumolo looking good and healthy, and also to be able to catch up with him a little bit. Some things are going on with the Harrison Police Department that are good, that we're going to be able to report on in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. But a great job out of everybody there by bringing the kids and their families together, offering them things that they need for school, and for having a nice, just overall community event over at the Harrison Gardens. Well done, everybody involved. It's also good to see Mayor Fife and Larry Kelly there as well. In Belleville, these fancy new meters are going to be put in certain parts of Washington Avenue and other spots strategically located throughout the town. And what's great about these things, they're smart. You don't need just coins. How many times have you parked somewhere, especially of late, where the only meters that are available are coin operated? And I don't know about you, but I don't carry coins. I don't carry cash anywhere I go. And so now, in addition, in Belleville, to be able to pay for these with coins, you can use debit cards, credit cards. There's like a token that I think you can buy as well, and a smart app where you can say where you are, and it'll indicate on the meter itself whether it's active or whether it's expired, things of that nature. So I want you to take a look at that if you get a chance, because this is something I think every town should really invest in at some point, because I don't know. I just think about how little coinage I keep. And you go into so many stores, they're not giving you change if you are owed it because they don't have enough coins. Let alone could you go in and say, hey, can I get a change for $1 so you can get some quarters or whatever to put in the meters. So I hope other towns look to something like this, because it's just a better thing for the community. Makes it a heck of a lot easier and more convenient to park. And in turn, in the commercial zones, which is where these are, they help the business community, because people don't have to worry about rushing in and rushing out, because they could be pretty confident that their meters are covered when they need to be, and they can even be done remotely. So check it out on page number 3. Another example of Mayor Mike Melham in Belleville thinking ahead of the curve. Tim Wagner has a police blotter this week, and in it, the story about a couple of people who were looking for a missing cell phone, but instead wound up finding a jail cell or two in South Kearney. Read it. The blotter is always enjoyable, and we thank Captain Tim Wagner for doing it. Even when he's on vacation, he finds a way to get the blotter to us, so we're very, very grateful to him for that. A bunch of teenagers spent part of their summer in Kearney and in different locations volunteering for the less fortunate in a program put on by the Archdiocese of Newark. And it's very intriguing because, these kids could be sleeping in or doing their jobs or going out and doing whatever teenagers do these days, but there's a good number of kids who instead were men and women for others and went out and did all this volunteer work at the end of July. So read that. We have a little feature, and we thank the Archdiocese of Newark for giving us this story. This is a little bit of a somewhat old story, but we never put it in print, and I wanted to make sure it got out there just for everybody. This man you see here is accused by the Passaic County Prosecutor's Office of allegedly sexually abusing a woman who was mentally incapacitated, unable to make decisions on her own, and he allegedly lured her out using an app and then kidnapped her, took her somewhere, had sex with her, and then brought her home and just dumped her on the curb, literally, when she got back home. And he's been arrested, and he's been charged with sexually assaulting her and with kidnapping, and he is a Kearney resident. I'm not even going to say his name. Just check it out on page number 6, one of the more disgusting police stories we've had in a long time. Some more pictures from Camp New Day here with firefighter McCune and the rest of the Kearney Fire Department who were there. And the Elks of Harrison are putting on a fundraiser for the West Hudson Arts and Theater Company. It's called Spaghetti and Show Tunes, and it's coming up in the first or second week of September. Check it out. $30 gets you in. All the money goes to what? And they raise the money, and they're going to use it to put right back into the program. They don't have any salaries or anything like that. It's a fully volunteer organization, and they're in need of some new sound and lighting equipment, and that's where this money is going to go because of your generosity. And then, of course, you get to have a great pasta dinner. Who says no to that? Hang out with Larry Bennett, which, of course, is everybody's dream, and you also help a good cause. So check that out on page number 7, and hopefully we'll see you there in the first or second week of September. I'm just blanking on the date. There's a little bit more on those lantern flies and what the eggs look like. And this was another very disturbing crime story. A Belleville man is going behind bars for 11 and a quarter years after he admitted to possessing child pornography. Second one of this kind in 2 weeks. We had one a couple of weeks ago, last week, where this guy from Kearney is allegedly abusing people who he was a caseworker for, and they found his phone loaded with crap. But this guy had images of an infant being sexually abused on his phone, but for 11 and a quarter years. I don't know what good that's going to do. It's really not that much. He seems like he's getting away with it, but at least for 11 and a quarter years, this guy won't be on the streets able to do some of the more disgusting things that he's already done. Jason Bernstein in sports has 3 fall previews, including 1 football preview and 2 soccer previews. I won't tell you what teams they are, so you can pick up the paper and read it yourselves. There are 2 full pages of classifieds, including plenty of apartments and job opportunities if you're looking for work. There's a lot of good job opportunities in this week's paper, so I hope you'll check that out. Some housekeeping items. We will be closed 1 week from today on the 5th day of September for Labor Day. Do you believe Labor Day is a week from today already? How fast this year has gone. So in lieu of that, we will be putting together next week's paper this week on Friday morning. So that means all the deadlines are moved up by a day, and you need to have classifieds in by 2 o'clock on Friday and obituaries by 10 o'clock Friday morning. So please keep that in mind. You can still get things in, but it's going to be early because we will be closed on Monday, and then anybody who has a last-minute classified won't be able to get it in. So if you know of anybody who needs to do a classified or anything of that nature this week, let them know. They have till 2 on Friday this week. That's September the 2nd. And that's it. It's unbelievable. The end of August is here. We're a couple of days away from September and Labor Day. Kids go back to school. The traffic gets worse. The weather gets cooler. Some people might actually like that. The days get shorter. Did you notice that? I was looking out the window. I was on the phone with Lisa last night. We were talking about something, and it was 7:45. And I looked out the window. She was in the car, and it was basically dark. These days get so short so fast. It just creeps up on you. And here we are, August 29th, a few days away from September. The days are only going to get shorter, so we'll see. Okay? So that's it for this week's edition of the Observer Live. I want to thank each and every one of you for logging on and joining me tonight. Don't forget, we'll be back a week from today from the home studio next week. And if anything happens during the course of the week or even the weekend, we'll join you live right here. So from the newsroom of The Observer and theobserver.com, it's Kevin Canessa signing off for now, and I hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Good night, everybody. Take care.